We are live. Hello, everyone. We are a good 2 minutes early, and that is because we are so excited that we're all warmed up. We're all ready to go. I had mentioned to you that I have a special guest today, and before I introduce her, let me just say, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss any lives. If you're watching on my Facebook page, Heartrepreneur Terry Levine, love to see your comments. Love to see you share this. This is shareable. And if you are a VIP community member of Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine, tag anyone else in the group who you notice hasn't shown up, because we don't want anyone to miss this. And in order for us to see, hi there, Denise, knew you'd be the first person here. Thank you. In order for you to have your name shown, like Denise, and who I could respond to, then I simply just need you to go ahead and agree that StreamYard can use your name. And that helps. Then I know who I'm talking to instead of Facebook user. So let me tell you a little bit about the wonderful guest that I have today and why I literally have goosebumps. And I almost came on like an hour early because I'm so ready. I just couldn't wait to do this. Thanks. You're tagging people. Excellent. Thanks, Denise. So let me tell you what kind of how evolved and how things showed up. I have known Regina for quite a while now, and she has totally been impressing me. She impresses me with the way she looks at life, the way she looks at the universe, and the kind of work that she does for clients, and really has people look at their, sort of, I think she calls it ho-hum life or business, which I love, and really take a look at what can be better. So before I bring her in, let me just share something. Oh, wow. Look at all these people that are being tagged by wonderful Denise. Appreciate that. So Rick, we're not interested in your kind of comments. So you may as well leave. You're going to be tossed out of the group in any case. Sandy, good to have you. And hang on just a minute. We have blocked Rick. So we're done with him. Okay, good. Every once in a while, we get people like this. So let's block him all over the place. User was blocked. Okay. And give me one more second. I'm just deleting all of his comments so nobody has to see this. I love Facebook, and then every once in a while I get a whack job on Facebook. Regina is a force to reckon with. Yes, she is a triathlete. She is amazing. Let me add them. All right, so let me just get back to business without a wackadoo showing up here. So this was me. And this is why I think you'll relate to the kinds of help that Regina is going to give us today. Prior to doing what I do now, 27 years ago, for 5 years, I had worked in corporate America and was miserable. I was CEO of a national healthcare company. And every day I went to work miserable. And every single Sunday night, I told my husband I would get the dreads. I didn't want to go to work on Monday morning. I'm like, oh my God, if only I didn't need to go to work. If only I didn't have to have that job. There's got to be something better in my life. My mother had passed away, and my girlfriend Marnie died of breast cancer 7 days later. And what Marnie said to me before she died made a profound difference. Marnie said, Terry, don't do what I did. Live your life. And that's when I decided literally to break free. So Regina Andler is brilliant at helping you break free from your ho-hum life. If you relate to anything I just said, if you ever thought for a minute or a second at your life that it was a little bit of ho-hum or any of that, I want you to meet my guest, my friend, and someone I highly recommend and endorse, Regina Andler.
Thank you so much for having me here, Terry.
I'm so excited to have you because, I know we've talked about this. There are people out there. Oh, Anita, you're here at midnight? Wow. Thank you for showing up. Holy cow. Oh, there's Dave Hobley. Oh, man, I'm just loving all the wonderful folks. Terry and guest. The guest is Regina. If you don't know her yet, you've got to meet her. So let's talk about this a little bit. Why don't we just need to go to work with a positive mindset? Why isn't that the answer? Or maybe it is the answer.
Well, it really is all about mindset. And I was actually, when you said your little story there, was actually thinking to myself and chuckling inside because you said 5 years in corporate world. And I thought about it and I said, I was thinking I did 20 plus years in corporate world before I actually got it and said, really, is this all there is? Because I would do the same thing, wake up every morning and go, okay, well, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go in, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to have my best day today. And then you walked into work and within 5 minutes of being in work, the energy was completely drained from you. And that was it. You wanted to leave. So even just having the positive mindset isn't necessarily, the way to go about it. When you have a mindset of positivity, when you wake up in the morning and then you go into your job, your job, and within the first half hour of work, that whole positivity mindset is gone. That's when you need to stop and think to yourself, okay, I had the mindset. Apparently that wasn't all there is to it.
I like what Denise said. Denise said, like a jail sentence, I did 10 years, right? So it's very interesting. Years and years ago, my very first mentor, my very first coach was the great Zig Ziglar. And Zig tells the kick the cat story. And some of you may know it, some of you may not. So I'm sure you know it, Regina. So kick the cat basically is, this guy has a bad day. Every single thing goes wrong. Stuff goes wrong at work. Stuff goes wrong with his car. I can go on and on. Everything goes wrong. He gets home. The cat is excited to see him, comes up, rubs on his leg, and he kicks the cat. Why did he kick the cat? We kicked the cat because the sequence of experience sort of played out in his life and what was happening. So I always say to people, positive mindset isn't really a positive mindset. And I'm going to get your take on this. There really is, the kick the cat story. I figured you would, Denise. There really is no positive and negative other than a battery. A battery has a positive charge and a human being is neutral. What happens for human beings is their thoughts. You're getting a little blurry on your camera for some reason. Their thoughts are what affect things. Okay. And so you think, oh, I'm being positive or negative. And some of the time you're just not being fully conscious. So let me ask you this question. Why is it that somebody goes to work or does whatever they do and they think, I'm real positive, yet they're unhappy in their job? What is that about it? And are a lot of people unhappy in their job, or the ones of us here just unusual?
Well, we're all happy in our jobs, right?
Exactly.
On average, according to like the past 5 years worth of statistics, anywhere from 60 to 85% of people say that they're unhappy in their jobs. How scary is that?
That's sad.
60 to 85%. And a third of your life is spent working. Do you really want to be miserable for a third of your life? Yeah. So when you go into work and you have this mindset, whatever the mindset is, it could be a positive mindset, it could be a neutral mindset, and you go into work, and if you're not doing what you love to do, there's a couple different things. You could absolutely be doing what you love to do in your job. It may be what you want to do, but using my butt word.
Heard it.
It belongs here. It belongs here. But then, you're doing what you love. Maybe the management that you're working for is not really all that stellar, and they're what's draining your energy. Or maybe the whole corporate culture for wherever you're working is really not employee centric, and it's just, it's just a miserable place to work. You could be doing exactly what you love to do, and it might just be the workplace that isn't right. It might not be that you haven't found what you want. It might just be you're doing it in the wrong place.
Brilliant. I am not sure why your camera keeps getting fuzzy, but man, are you fuzzy. Anyway, we hear you and you're beautiful, so it's fine. So let me piggyback on that. Let's say I'm not doing what I love. How do I actually break out of that? Can I break out? Because you just said I spend so much of my life doing that. What can I do about that? And, Denise, I agree. Company culture can kill, which is why I personally got out. But how do you work your way out of that?
Yeah. So when you're in a job that you absolutely hate, there's a reason for that. And first off, the first thing that I always try to get people to understand, and it really is difficult for a lot of people to actually grasp this concept, but everything that's happening in your life, you created. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. People are like, well, I didn't create this miserable job. And you did. You got hired, you stayed there. So you created that. The best thing about learning and understanding and really accepting that you're the creator of everything that you do is that you can uncreate what you don't like and create something new. So when you're not doing what you love to do, that's a choice. You're choosing to stay where you are. And there might be a whole bunch of different reasons for that. It could be, maybe it's that comfort zone. I was actually doing some work on comfort zone stuff recently and looking at comfort zones really in depth. And why do people stay in a miserable job when they know they're miserable and they have the knowledge, they can go do something else. They have everything that they need, but they stay there anyways. Mm-hmm. That's actually their comfort zone. So your comfort zone is not necessarily everything that's good. In your comfort zone, there can actually be a whole bunch of stuff you don't like. Mm-hmm. And going to do something different is where that challenge comes in, because that brings you outside of your comfort zone. And that's what stops people. A lot of people are like, well, what if I do go for that other job at the other company because they've got a better corporate culture? And, oh man, I've been hearing that the management over there is really good. But what if I get hired and they fire me 2 weeks later? Mm-hmm. You start making up stories in your head all of a sudden. And you're like, well, I'm really miserable at this job, but I know what it is and I know what to expect every day. My question is, do you really want to expect miserable every day?
Yeah, really, really. Let me jump in on some of the comments here because this is good. I think what Velma said is so true. What I don't want can point to what I do want, right? And that was me, corporate. It's like, I don't want to feel miserable on Sunday and miss my life. Like, this is silly. So that's really a very true thing. I love what Denise said. Be the artist of your life, right? Be the CEO, be the artist. I love all that. Velma, that's a brilliant coaching question. What's the payoff to stay? Is it, well, I am comfortable in my comfort zone because something is having you there. And Andrea, I love what you said. For me, I think that if you're not engaged in an activity that you find of value to you, then that job is just bupkis. I love that. It's one of my favorite comments ever. Totally true. Totally true. So, all right, Regina, help us out. We have some people here who want to get out of their rut, I'm sure. Now what?
Yeah, so I absolutely, what Denise said, be the artist of your life. You created your life. So if you think of your life, there's different ways to think of it. You think of it as a book and you're writing the story. And maybe your chapters up to now have not been maybe the best that you want. But remember, everything that you've done in your past has led you to where you are now. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with the past. One of the things I get a lot of times with people is that, well, I don't want to repeat my mistakes. I don't want to do all this, I don't want to go back there. You don't have to. You learned all that. You are the creator. When you actually go back and look and go, okay, I did this, didn't work, did this, didn't work. It's the Thomas Edison with the 10,000 ways to the light bulb. And he said, I didn't fail 10,000 ways. I found 10,000 ways it didn't work. Exactly. So when you look back, and if that's one of your fears for moving forward and being the artist and going, well, what if I take a new job? Or what if I quit my corporate job and go start my own business? Can I really do that? Is that going to work? The answer, number one, is yes. If you want it to, it will. If you want to create it, yes, you can. And the thing is that you really have to be okay and understand that change is good. We've been brought up in a society where you always hear people saying, oh, I hate change. Change is bad. Change means something different. absolutely right. Change does mean something different. And you get to choose what the different is. You get to choose to make it a good different.
It's very empowering, by the way. It's really empowering. And I've seen you and heard you say, "Hi, Zia, good to have you." Acknowledge and accept, right? That's how we start. And what we're doing right now is hopefully being a reminder to all of you, you are the creator of your life. You are 100% responsible. So wherever you are, there's no use blaming, and there's certainly no use complaining. What do we have to do instead?
Yeah, well, just to talk about that for just a sec, is that the 100% responsibility, that's really owning it. And it takes a lot to really say you 100% responsibility. It takes a while for that to sink in. And the blaming and complaining, you always know you're not taking 100% responsibility when you're blaming and complaining. So if you're complaining about your job every day that you go to work, remember you created it, own it, take 100% responsibility and go do something about it. And that's where that next step comes in. It's okay, I own it. Now what do I do? That's where you need to do a little introspection and figure out, I don't know, what do I want to do? Maybe maybe there's been something, that you said, you know what? If I could just do this every single day for the rest of my life, I would be so happy. I mean, come on. There was a guy who, and I can't remember his name right now, the guy who created the mood ring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can create anything and be successful. If he can do it with a ring, or the person who put a rock in a box and called it a pet rock, if you want to create something, you can do it. You just have to have the confidence and the faith in yourself and take that first step. And like they say, a lot of times that first step is kind of the hardest step.
So you'll all laugh at this. So here's a nice fairy box. And I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get it in the camera. This is my pet rock, okay? And this was a birthday gift from Dr. Barbara Portzline as a kind of family member, because I always refer to the pet rock. I love that you brought that up. You can create literally anything. You are the creator of your experience. So how does whatever our unconscious beliefs, our hardwired beliefs, how does that play into what we're talking about?
Yeah, so that's one of those things that holds people back. That blaming and complaining, when you're blaming and complaining about anything, a lot of times that's stemming from what are called limiting beliefs. I know a lot of the folks on here know what a limiting belief is. For anybody who doesn't know what a limiting belief is, it's just a belief. It's something that you believe to be true that isn't really serving you anymore. It's not true for you who you are today. It might have been true for you, many years ago when it first came up, but now not so much. And it could be holding you back. Beliefs hold you back. So yes, it's those limiting beliefs that I'm not smart enough to get another job, or you know what, there's so many people in the job market right now. I actually, if you love being a technical programmer and you're miserable at your job, and there's 5 other companies hiring technical programmers, and you think to yourself, well, there's thousands of people out there. This is like buying a lottery ticket. There's no way they're ever going to hire me. If that's in your head, that's because of a limiting belief. You're telling yourself that you're not smart enough. There's a reason why you don't feel like you're smart enough to do that. It could stem from all kinds of different things. It could be from something maybe your parents told you when you were younger, is that you stay in the same job. You go to college, you get a job, you work 40 years for the same company, and then you retire on your pension. The world doesn't work that way anymore.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, good point. I like what, let me see what we have here. Denise said limiting beliefs are from old programs. One thing I'll add to that, many of them, and I'll chat about one in just a second, are unconscious. You're not aware of them until, in my experience, a really good coach or consultant helps you see them, because you're in them and you won't see them. Velma says, why self-eliminate from your dreams? Ooh, I love that. Denise said, yeah, you get married, you have kids, you stay home, right? These are programming things. So just to share, true story here to kind of help people with perspective. And this is why I got into coaching. This is the whole reason why and why I do what I do. And I don't do what Regina does. She does something completely different, which is very, very exciting. So here's what happened. My father told me over and over again, the way the world works is you work really, really hard your entire life. You put your head down and you work, work, work. And maybe someday you'll get to retire. Now, as a little kid, I heard those beliefs. I didn't consciously recognize them. They were just in there. So I start work really, really hard, put my head down. I don't do anything but work for years of my life, to the point where I literally made myself sick. I truly mean that. And one day, because I hired a life coach, which was the smartest thing I ever did, we started looking at limiting beliefs. And she said, Terry, why do you have to work 18 hours a day? Like, who does this? What's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. We started picking apart limiting beliefs. And it was like, I love you, Dad. Absolutely love you. I adore you. And that belief got in there, right? So, Denise shared one, money doesn't grow on trees. We've all heard these. You've either heard them from your parents, from the clergy, from teachers, from your friends' parents, from other relatives. We could go on and on and on. The Code of the Extraordinary Mind calls limiting beliefs rules, BS rules that don't serve you anymore. Dr. Polly, I'd never heard that. And I have to tell you, really like that. I'm like mentally taking a big note of that. Thank you for that. So once I recognized my limiting beliefs, I just want to share with everyone, I realized I needed a coach. Okay. I've had a life coach now for 28 and a half years. I have lots of other coaches and consultants on my team. Why? Why would I have a life coach? So, Regina, why can't I just figure out my limiting beliefs, and why can't I just move along in life?
Because it's you. Because you are so wound up in you, and it's what you see. When I talk to people, when I talk to my clients, I just listen. I actually don't talk. I listen and I hear what they're saying. And when they're saying it, I watch how they're reacting. I watch their energy. I see the ups and the downs of everything that they're doing. And then I can come back and say, did you know that when you were talking about X, that your entire energy just drained away? So maybe this is a place that we need to go look. You don't see it yourself because you're living it. So you don't always know how to find it. And if you do know how to find it on your own and work through some exercises, because you can work through some exercises, but a lot of times you'll just scratch the surface and you'll get the stuff that is, really right in front of you, where a coach will help you pull the stuff that's really deep. A lot of those limiting beliefs live way, way, way back in your subconscious, and you don't even know that you have them or that there's a limiting belief there. You just automatically react in a certain way. You respond in a certain way or whatever it is because of these beliefs that you have in your head, and you don't recognize them as a limiting belief. It's just how you are.
Yeah, I'll share that. And yeah, Andrea shared the one, those who don't work, don't eat. Yeah. We've, it's funny. We've all heard these great stories. And I think you said something, you hit the nail on the head that I want to repeat. Limiting beliefs hide themselves really well. In fact, because they're limiting, we don't even know they're there. We just go through life. And some of the times we think everyone believes what we believe. And everyone feels what we feel. And everyone had the same background and experience. And everyone has the same limiting beliefs. It's not true. So when I look at business owners, I can tell pretty quick who's going to be very successful. And by the way, same thing that I did when people wanted to be trained as coaches. They'd say, well, what background do I need or what skills? I said, let me just listen to you. Because it depends on what you believe. And we all believe something different. And many of us just assume, you know what that word means, that everyone in the world believes what we believe. Sometimes we assume that people think what we think. So one of the things that I notice, and I'll just share this, someone that I know in Mexico, she's a friend for the last about 10 years in Mexico. she posted something on Instagram that was completely anti our government, like our entire government. Doesn't matter where you sit in the United States, she is anti the government. And so I said to my husband, did you expect this from her? Like, I showed him the post. I said, because I was like, well, that's interesting. And he said, yeah, I actually do. He said, as I've heard her speak, and he's not a coach, I have listened to what's underneath the words like a good coach would. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he raised. It doesn't surprise me. And yeah, Andrea, we're cultured, we're conditioned into them. If your family believes something, chances are you believe that. I had my great niece, as you know, staying here a couple weeks ago, and I was making applesauce. And she said, why do you make it that way? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, oh, mom makes it this way. And I started asking myself, why do I make it this way? Well, I watched my mother make it that way and my grandmother. Could there be another way? Like now in 2021, is there some way that didn't come from 1922? So I really feel like we need, as human beings, to look at that. And Vilma, you know, I agree with that also. My sister and I were raised very similar. Okay, came from the same parents, grew up in the same family. We have completely different experiences in our lives because we also choose to think differently about those experiences. Oh, Dr. Paula, yeah. I love when I do work in corporate, okay? And I go to change something in corporate and they go, oh, no. This is the way we've always done it. It's like, yeah, exactly. That's where we're going to shake it up. So how do you work with people, and how does someone who's watching now or on the replay, by the way, if you're watching on the replay later, just do #replay so we know you came by. What would you say to them in terms of how you could work with them and if they know if they're a good fit for you? And I'm going to ask you a personal favor. Would you share a little bit about your new program? Because that gives me goosebumps.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first off, as far as working with people, here's the thing. For me, even personally, and I'm guessing it was probably you too, and I'm thinking just about everybody who is where we are now, you had to be ready. You had to actually be ready to say, okay, I know this is probably going to bring me out of my comfort zone. I'm going to learn some stuff about myself that maybe I don't really want to know so much about. And you're okay with that. And you're ready to say, you know, I'm done. I'm done being miserable. I'm done not doing what I want to do. I know there's so much more for me out there. I can feel it and I'm ready. That's the first requirement as far as working with somebody, just because if you're not ready, I can listen to you and hear everything that is going on. And I can suggest to you, you know, what options and what things to maybe reconsider to recreate that story in your head. And if you're not ready to hear it and not ready to change, then, you know, I am very integrity based. As far as I'm concerned, that's wasting your money. And I don't want your money if you're not actually going to implement anything. If I can't help you because you're not ready, that's number one. Number two is you need to really, really, really have that open mind. So you need to be able to hear what's coming to you, because sometimes it's not necessarily going to be something you want to hear. So you just have to be open, receptive, and just, you know, breathe it in and be able to work with it and say, okay, you know what? Let me give this a shot and see how it works in my life.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Let me say something around that real quick. I remember when I first hired my life coach and I was telling her something and she said, well, I'll just tell you, I think your baby's ugly. And I said, what baby? Like, what are you talking about? And she said, what you're saying, the truth of the matter is that's not a happy thing. That's not a good thing. It's not something to celebrate. And if you really step back and hear somebody else say it, would you think that that was a good thing? And I remember getting like a little uptight, right? I'm paying this person a lot of money, I got a little uptight. And then she had me do an exercise. And when I did that exercise, I had this like cathartic experience. Always remember this. I cried my eyes out. I just cried and cried and cried. And after I cried, I felt completely cleansed. And I also felt like, exactly, I need to hear that because all my friends and all my family, no one would tell me that. They would go, yeah, that's nice, Terry, right? And she's like, no, Terry, that's not nice. It's something that you really need to look at. And then, by the way, because I did look at it, because as Andrea said, I was ready to surrender. I was ready to be open minded, like you said, Regina, and I was curious. And I'm like, I paid someone for this. I need to pay attention. I was able to make so many massive changes in my life and to my health. And now I'm doing the work I love for 27 years, all because I did one thing. I hired a life coach. So I'm sorry to interrupt. I get pretty emotional about the whole field.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think I had a very similar experience going through everything that I went through. And there's a point in time when all of a sudden you're just like, wow, I get it. Yeah, I here's what I got to do. And all of a sudden there's the ready to listen, and then there's the ready to actually make a change. So there's a couple different spots there. So at that point, you were ready to make a change, and you weren't just thinking anymore, I'm going to listen to you. You said, I'm ready now. I really get it. Now I'm going to go and start taking action to create the story of my life that I really, really want. And that's a great thing when you can do that.
Yeah. So I just heard something. You just gave me those goosebumps again. And we talked about this earlier, you get to create the story of your life. You sit in the CEO chair. I think it was Denise that said it, or maybe Velma, you're the artistic director. And so I want to really ask everyone who's with us, we'll let you go in just a moment, to think about what's not quite right yet in your life. That's the question. It's a writer downer. What's not quite right yet in your life? And then the magical what if that we talked about before. And what if there was a way to make it more right? So Regina, in just the last minute or two, and I'll ask you to drop a link in here later, can you tell them about finding me? Because I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, so am I. I love this program. Finding Me is an acronym, and I'll just give you the F is focus and foundation, and then it goes on. Each letter is a different module. It's a 10-week program, and what we do is we actually take the first 5 weeks, and we start setting up all of that background. It's the where are you right now? What do you really want to do? Who are you? What stories have you been telling yourself to date that you want to change? And we work into all the details of where you are right now. It's all about you. It's not about me teaching you my stuff. It's about you actually understanding and realizing where you are right now at this point in time and defining what it is that you want. And then on the backside, what we do is we start working on what I call your life transformation plan, which is a goal plan for even after you've done the 10 weeks. I just want to interject myself here that I have a pet peeve of our industry, which is I was kind of talking about when I said who I'll work with. And it's the people will buy programs and buy books and go and pay for all these seminars, and then they just sit on the shelf and they do nothing. And I didn't want my program to sit on the shelf. I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody's going to let their transformation plan sit on the shelf. That's entirely up to them. Again, it's their choice. The life transformation plan that we create is you've identified what it is that you want. We literally go into detail and now make up specific goals, actions, who you need to support you, everything that you need, the knowledge that you need, so that post the program, not only during the program, you're working on at least one of your actions that you want to take, but then post program, you can actually start working on more and create what it is you really want to create. It's meant to be an ongoing, self-study after the fact.
That's what I love about the program. I totally love it. And, some of our client family members have been through it. I have been so privileged to go through the course materials, and all I can say is, wow. I'm going to add one more thing that I think is relevant. I mentioned to some of you earlier that Regina is a Jack Canfield Train the Trainer. So she knows his success principles. She knows how to teach them. What she has done, in my view, and I don't know if I've ever said this to you, so I will. You have taken like the best of the field of personal development, including Jack stuff. And I hold Jack in the highest regard, just so much integrity, knowing him behind the scenes as you and I both do. He's just an incredible human being who lives just the way he is on stage. And she has made this into a 10-week program where you don't have to go learn a million success principles. You literally can get what you need in 10 weeks. And the life transformation plan, I think, is amazing. So how do you want people to connect with you so we can let them go? If they want more info on it, maybe you'll drop a link in, or how do you want to do that?
I'll drop a link to the program into the comments when we're done. And everybody can always connect with me on my Facebook group page. It's the Harmony and Balance Connection for Women. And by the way, men are invited too. There's a bunch of men already in the group. And that's Facebook, the Harmony and Balance Connection for Women. I can drop the links for these. And that's probably the best way to contact me.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as everyone is watching and we're concluding, think to yourself whether or not you're ready for finding me, right? Transforming your life, truly transforming. It's not information. It's not education. It is transformation. Mm-hmm. And then think about who you know, who might be a good person. And then we'll have Regina drop the links in. So before we sign off, I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to appreciate all of you for being here. And I also want to tell you that next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, in the Heartrepreneur Facebook group, I will have the founder of Pepper, which is what I use for chat, that has brought in about, I think we're at about $196,000 worth of income. And I'm going to actually go hard with him. So come and join, and we will teach you to sell by chat. I'm having the founder himself, 2 p.m. Eastern. Regina, thank you. You are like totally the best. I appreciate you being here. Much love to you and for you. Anyone who's on the fence, I don't come here and do a lot of endorsements. I'm endorsing her completely, full out. You have my word. Regina is the real deal. Andrea, good to have you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you in the group. Bye for now.